Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. On this podcast, Laura
and Shelby, both board-certified nurse coaches, show you how to make as much money as you want in private practice as a nurse coach.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. It is Shelby here today, flying solo. Well, I'm kind of flying solo today. It is me and the construction workers outside of my window. So if you can hear some background noise, that is where that is coming from. And they are almost done building all of the houses on my street. So we should be over this hump pretty soon. In the meantime, we will enjoy comments from the peanut gallery. But welcome. Happy Monday morning. I'm excited that you're here. I went on our Instagram and in our Facebook group and I asked what you guys needed some support in. And all 10 of you that responded was tech and overwhelm. There were some other comments that you guys responded back to, and I appreciate them, but they did not have too much to do with business and private practice. So I responded personally to those there. But the overarching theme was tech and overwhelm and not feeling tech savvy. And I kind of wanted to break this down today and maybe offer a deep breath for those of you who feel like this is your Everest, like this is the thing getting in the way. And just like really take it slow and really break it down. Because I think that this tech overwhelm piece kind of comes from two places. I think that it's genuine tech overwhelm, right? That tech, it's not my favorite gig. It does make my life a lot easier. But even this morning, I was having issues with our website domain connecting to our email, like marketing platform. And there must be something in the air this morning because I had to take many deep breaths because it's really easy for me, myself, to get overwhelmed and just want to throw in the towel and make somebody else fix this problem. However, we are the people that fix this problem. That there are people out there that I'm sure that can absolutely help us, but you are not just the CEO, you are not just the lead coach, you're not just the financial manager, you are also the help desk for your business. You are also the tech. What do they used to call them in the hospital? Like the tech support. You pick up the phone and they have their own special number, right? All of those numbers lead to you now. And this can be big for some people, right? I think that I don't want to make light of it. And I also do want to offer that, like, you are smart, you are capable, you can absolutely figure this out. I want to give a little shout out to Shawnee and the Nurse Coach Tech Support. She has a whole group for just this, right? But even sometimes, and I've only heard wonderful and amazing things, but sometimes it's not actually like the know-how, it's really the feelings and thoughts that are associated with the thing itself. So yes, somebody could hold your hand and teach you how to click 1, 2, 3, 4, give you all of the steps, but there's still this underlying sense of overwhelm and anxiety that comes with tech stuff. And I kind of want to speak more into that today. So buckle up, grab some tea, grab some coffee, grab some water, and let's sink in here. So good news, team. First off, tech for your first 10, 15, 20 paid clients is pretty simple. You don't have to have lots of systems. You don't have to have a fancy marketing plan or fancy emails. You don't have to have even a business card if that's not your jam. There's actually so little that goes into the very, very beginning. So I really want to like chunk it down into the very, very first step. What does a brand new nurse coach need? What does a brand new nurse coach need who's had less than 5 paid clients? What do you need? And when do you upgrade, right? Like, when do you pour more time and resources in? So let's start there. Let's start there. Brand new nurse coach. You need a way to accept payment in your business. I don't recommend Venmo because Bookkeepers hate Venmo, especially if it's not a business account. We recommend keeping your finances, your business finances and your personal finances as separate as possible. Did I do that in the beginning? No. Was it a nightmare? Yes, when it came time to file my taxes. So if you can keep it separate, please do. We absolutely recommend that. And your future bookkeeper is kissing your feet for doing those things. But you need a way to accept payment. So where do you start? Stripe or Square. Those are the two options. And everybody goes and looks at them, and you get a little sticker shock from the 3% or the 2.5% processing fee. And that's just the cost of doing business, baby. It's no way around it. If you are going to use a credit card payment processor, most clients put life coaching on a credit card. There will be some who pay in full. There will be some who wire transfer you the money. There will be some who write you a check. But majority, 95% of people need a credit card to put it on. And this is the cost of doing business. But kind of bonus points here. You can write those off on your taxes, the payment processing fee. So it's a tax deduction, which is really great. Also why it's so important to keep your business and personal finances separate. But that's it. You need an LLC to open a Stripe or a Square account, or you need a sole proprietorship to open a Square or a Stripe account, because you have to have like a business ID that you plug in. So just know that like you have to like establish your business legally first, and then you can open up those things. Square and Stripe are the most user-friendly. Stripe is a little simpler to understand, Square is a little bit more simple to understand. Stripe has more functionality and integrates with more third-party applications. So I started with Square and then moved over to Stripe. You can have a free account. They're not going to charge you a monthly fee, but they just charge you whenever you process payments. All right, homies. So step 1, open your business. Step 2, open a way to accept payment. Step 3, we need a way to send a contract, right? So you can go the route of setting up a client management software like Practice Better or Cohere, or there's like a dozen of them these days, to where you have a client management system where people get an account with you. You can have all of your forms uploaded. This can be a little bit of a can of worms for our tech challenge people. And I wouldn't qualify myself like I don't know anything about tech. And when I was a new nurse coach, even just like the most basic client management software was overwhelming for me. So there are other options to where you can send a form to be electronically signed. The one we use is Sign Now, to where you can just upload a Word document. You put a text box on where they're supposed to sign, and you can email it. It's super, super simple. Or you can literally email it like in a PDF or in a Word document and have them print it and have them sign it old school and take a picture on their phone and send it back to you. We've had people send contracts in the mail, like if they have older clientele who don't have an email, to where they mail it old school and then they mail it back. Like there's 100 ways to do this. And I just want you to be encouraged that it doesn't have to be, you're allowed to grow in to your tech skill. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. All right. So business setup, LLC ID number or sole proprietorship ID number. Be able to accept payment on Stripe or Square. You can also, we have a client who has only accepted pay like through Zelle or bank transfers. That is also an option that's free. So be able to accept payment, and then you're going to set up a contract. Done. That's all you need. That's all the tech you need to set up your business. If you are a visual learner, I recommend going to YouTube and typing in like how to set up a Stripe account, and somebody is going to walk you through it. Pay attention to the dates on those videos, just because those platforms update so often, and try to find one that is most recent for you, like within 2024. If you're listening to this in the future, how cool. But find one that is closest time uploads so that all of the buttons look the same and everything's in the same spot. All right. Deep breath. We got it. We're doing okay. I want to just take a pause and notice what's coming up for you right now. If you're like, Shelby, I've heard you say this 100 times. I'm still feeling overwhelmed and I'm still don't know what to do. Um, if you are having these thoughts and feelings, I want to bring in the possibility that this could be resistance. This could be your ego, your blessed ego telling you, you can't do it. You can't figure it out. It's too much. It's too overwhelming. So why even try? And that is a way for your ego to keep you safe, to keep you small, and to keep you secure. Your ego is doing its job in this moment. And if you are wanting to pursue the realm of private practice, if you're wanting to pursue the realm of entrepreneurship, you're going to kind of get to look that fear in the face and be like, true or not true? Like, the reality for most nurses is you have brought people back from the dead. You have run a code. You have done CPR. You have stabbed people. Okay, that's dramatic. You have poked people with needles and with tubes. You have performed life saving interventions. You have learned many computer charting systems, and you have the capacity to do it again. I promise. Okay. So if this is you to where you're feeling overwhelmed, I just encourage you to take a deep breath right now and just be like, I hear you. I see you. I know that we're feeling nervous, but I got it. I can figure it out. I believe in my ability to figure it out. Okay. So, and you got it figured out today. And then like a year from now, there's going to be more the tech wormhole. There will always be something, right? There will always be something. There will be a new platform, a new AI. There will be a new content generator. There will be a new email marketing breakthrough. Like, there's always going to be new stuff in the tech world. And I just really want to encourage you guys that you build confidence to figure out these problems along the way as you do it. And then also, you don't need a lot to get started. You really, really don't. You absolutely don't. One thing I forgot to mention as a part of your checklist is to, set up a Zoom account. You do need a Zoom account. Luckily, most of you are pretty familiar by this point, thanks to pandemic life of how to use Zoom, how to function Zoom. And I recommend that if you're having some nervousness about hosting a Zoom call and not just being an attendee, get your friend to do a practice run with you. Get your husband, use his email to send him a Zoom invite. Practice first. I still do this now whenever we go to launch something with a form or something on our website. I send it to Rob first and I make him click around on it. And 99% of the time, team, I've missed something. I move quickly. I click fast. I don't always click save. And there's usually a glitch in there somewhere. All of my inner circle has gotten a link at one point in time to where I've been like, hey, sign up for this thing and tell me if you get the email. Tell me if the automation works. And that's just a part of my process, right? I'm not striving for perfection, but now I have a few stop points to where people can be like, oh, that button doesn't work. This link doesn't work, or, test it out. Okay. So after we have our business set up, then it can be overwhelming. I kind of want to mention the connection piece with folks, right? I want to talk about social media a little bit. Social media in the form of yes, Facebook and Instagram, but also LinkedIn, Nextdoor, online connection platforms might be a better term for it. This is where kind of the second wave of overwhelm comes in of man, I don't know how to use Facebook yet. Or I always just look at pictures of my family on the internet. I've never really played around in Facebook communities or following people on Instagram that I don't know. And again, I want to bring in this resource of YouTube. I am a highly visual learner myself. And if there is something I want to learn how to do, I'm going to go get taught for free how to do it. Right. I have, except for with email marketing, I have never gone to my coach and been like, hey, can you teach me how to do this thing? Or can you teach me how to upload a contract? Can you teach me? Because I can Google it. And even if she told me, on a call of like, oh, click here, click here, click here. It's super easy. I'm going to need to watch it more than once. I'm going to need to go slower. I'm going to want the opportunity to pause and come back and do all the things. So that's why I love YouTube as like a free educational resource. So you just go to youtube.com and you type in like, how do I create a Facebook group? How do I friend request people? How do I send direct messages? Like there's really no question too simple or too small. And I mean, I know that we've all been there whenever we're like admitting a patient and they hit you with like some really rare autoimmune disease and you're like, oh, I don't know what that is. And then like as you're listening, taking their med rec, you're also Googling this like really rare disease on the side. And if you don't do that, then I just totally outed myself. But I definitely did that. There is no pressure. There's no pressure that you have to have everything in your brain to get started. Like there's just, that's the biggest takeaway I want for you guys to walk away with here is you don't have to have it all figured out. Give yourself permission to learn. Give yourself permission to learn and be new. Okay, but yeah, so if you are unfamiliar on how to like use the functionality of social media, go give yourself a tour. Like YouTubing videos of how do I set up a Facebook account? They're going to cover the basics for you, and that's a really good place to just find out what's possible here, right? And then I find that once people learn how to use the tool, then we have more confidence in using the tool, right? We can address any other lingering thoughts or feelings about it, but having the education gap filled is really, really helpful. All right, team. So after we have set up your business, we've set up a contract, we've set up a way to accept payment, then we know how to use Facebook, we know how to send a direct message, we know how to post on Instagram if you want to post over there, or LinkedIn or Nextdoor, which is an app, by the way. It's like a neighborhood app that people use to connect with one another. Long gone are the days where we just like knock on each other's door. It's like, can I just send you a direct message and not have to talk to you in the driveway? After you learn how to do that and you have your first 10, 15 paid clients, this is where the tech game gets potentially more intense if you want it to. We have had a few clients just simply rock the one-on-one practice or small group practice, and they don't mess around at all with social media. They don't, like, they're embedded in their community. Everybody knows what they do. And there's no need, right? There's no need for this social media tech expansion. That was their vision, and they are fully embodying it, and it's wonderful. And I don't want to apply any pressure if that is also your dream. You can have a multiple six-figure practice doing just that and having complete word of mouth. That is totally possible. I find that a lot of nurse coaches that we work with tend to have a bigger vision, right? They want to have workshops and retreats and groups and memberships and podcasts. They want to play in this world of creation. And when you are looking to play here, that's when you're going to get to like fully put on the tech guru hat and learn. I don't think that this is necessary for your first 10 paid clients, probably even 20 paid clients, if I'm being honest. But it can be a distraction, right? If we are feeling potentially overwhelmed with being seen or heard or showing up in our new identity as a nurse coach, this can be a really easy place to hide of like, oh, well, okay, I got my first paid client. Now I'm going to start a podcast. It's like, is that the best move right now? We can absolutely have the podcast, but maybe like, let's figure out who your ideal audience is first and have an audience to have listened to your podcast so that you keep showing up for it. Podcasts are great marketing tools, as evidenced by you listening to this right now, right? Like, it's working, it does its job. But if Laura and I had recorded 200 episodes of a podcast and we had like 4 followers, we knew 4 nurse coaches, it would serve the hell out of those 4 nurse coaches, but like the return of investment would be limited for that. So having a community of about, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 people to launch a podcast to where you're really hyper relevant to them is super helpful. Those of you who have started a podcast know that like this is a can of worms all in of itself. It's going to take you about 50 hours of time to figure out and get the podcast art and figure out how to upload and edit and all these things, because most of the time you don't have the finances to outsource all of that. So now you're coach, now you're CEO, and now you're also podcast editor, right? If you're one of the lucky few who has money to reinvest into your podcast, I know a girl. She's great. Hit me up. She's one of our best teammates in the podcast world. Shout out to Sue. She's listening and editing this podcast right now. But with tech, there's often this shiny object syndrome of just like taking too much onto your plate before it's really necessary. And I want to speak into like what the second stage of tech mastery can look like. So, podcasts, email marketing. You can also play in the realm of like short form content where you're recording video and you're posting it online. You can do partnerships and newsletters and even workshops, right? That all requires a community aspect to provide value to promote to sell to. And so as you are in the early stages of your business, having a community in mind is really, really helpful for all of these things. Or else, like I said, we're going to like spend 20 hours writing a monthly newsletter to 4 readers. It's not the highest return of investment on your time. You totally can. You absolutely can. But in the beginning, I'd rather you be connecting and inviting and coaching people to as the highest return of investment. And then once you have your 10, 15, 20 paid clients, you've probably connected with hundreds of people by that point. And we can have them on an email list. We can have them do a little bit of email marketing. We can have them in a Facebook group to where you can pop in and teach and be in leadership, have a position of authority. So I hope that I'm not going around in circles too terribly much, but there are phases. There are phases of tech mastery. In the beginning, lots of deep breaths. Don't compare yourself to all of the nurse coaches that seem to have it all figured out, that have really beautiful Facebook posts. They've just been in the game a little longer than you have, and they've had the time to learn all of these new skills. It's the same as like comparing yourself as a new grad nurse to like the 10-year experienced nurse versus like the veteran nurse who's been on the floor for 30 years or in the ER for 30 years or in the ICU for 30 years. Like, it's simply just not fair to compare yourself to your peers in this way, but instead to look to them for inspiration of like, one day I'm going to know all these things and one day it's all going to make sense. And right now I just am where I am and I accept where I am. And what is the next thing that I need to do? What is the next thing that I need to check off the list? All right, team. So again, I'm going to say it again. Set up your LLC or your sole prop. Have a way to accept payment and be able to send a contract. Those are the only things that you need to begin. Do the connecting and the inviting and the coaching, coach your butt off, do all of that stuff for your first 10 paid clients, and then have a mentor who can guide you in the next phase of things. A couple of things I want to mention about like staying safe online, because the internet's a weird place. Like, I've had people steal my Instagram photos and create like 7 or 8 fake accounts. I've had people use pictures of my kids on my fake accounts, which is like makes my stomach churn. There is a few notes. So like, if you guys ever get messages from people who look official but are asking you for money, are asking you or are giving you the heebie-jeebies, like, just don't respond. You don't have to respond. It is not rude. It's like they're being creepy, and you don't have to apologize for being a no to creepers ever. Period. End of sentence. I talk to a lot of nurse coaches who are like, well, this person messaged me and they're being kind of weird, but I didn't want to be rude. And it's like, fuck that. Be rude. People don't have just blanket permission to show up in your DMs and be creepos. Period. If you have kiddos, I just invite you to check in here on who's on your friend list. Do you know them? Can you post your kids to like a private friend list on Facebook or on Instagram? The internet is not a safe place for kids, period. And um, I encourage you to be protective of your children online. And for everyone, I think this line in the sand feels different. I have private friends lists on Instagram where I share more intimate videos of my family. And that's for people that I actually like know and have a personal relationship with that I have on that list. There's not any random followers on there. There's not anyone that I don't know on that list. That's my own personal line in the sand, is to err on the side of overprotection. And you will see me pop through every now and again and share bits and pieces of my life to the greater community. But it's I really think that like my kids are not old enough to give consent to be on my social media, and I want to protect them until they have the choice to be seen and heard in whatever way they want to online. The internet is forever. It's forever. So just a word of caution there. And that's my only rant I'm gonna leave you here with. I know that like sharing your family and stuff online it's special because we get to cultivate connection that way. And also, again, the internet is a gross place sometimes. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, team. So what have we learned here today? Where can we land the plane here? Setting up your business, curating the first 3 steps of getting your business legal with an LLC or a sole prop, having a way to send payment, and having a contract are the 3 things that you must have to begin. And then the rest of it is ice cream. You get to play. All of it are just different. All of these tech problems are different flavors of ice cream, and you get to go at your own pace and your own speed. After coaching so many nurse coaches, there is this confidence that comes with like figuring out the tech stuff of like, okay, well, I did this thing and it wasn't actually as hard as I thought it was going to be. And it breeds this momentum to give you fuel in the tank to do the next thing. And I just really want to encourage you of like, if you're experiencing overwhelm, be with it. Is it an education gap? Do you need to learn how to do something? Or is it like a resistance place of like, this just feels so big and I can't even figure it out and I don't know where to start. And we're just like stuck in the loop of not taking action and using this as an excuse to not take action. There are so many resources available to you. The whole internet, which probably may not do too much for your overwhelm, but go into YouTube, watch a tutorial. If you want a more hands-on approach and you are ready to take action, Sean's group is great. Her tech support is great. I hear nothing but wonderful things. And also too, of like, if you gave yourself the next 3 years to build confidence around tech, I know that you would find it. I know that you would find it 100%. So let me know what lands for you here, folks. I would love to know. We are here for you. And I also want to encourage you of like, you are your own boss now. So while the Successful Nurse Coach Facebook group is a great place to get support, there is a part of this to where you got to put on your tech bro ball cap and you are the person that's going to figure it out. There are some things that are easy fixes that our community can tap in on, but I really want to encourage you, like, whip out good old Dr. Google and like, let's figure it out. And if you get stuck, let somebody know. But you got this. This will be a blip on your radar in the next 5 years. And like I said, you are a nurse. You have done significantly harder things, significantly more life and death things. You can absolutely figure this out. All right, team. Thanks for listening today. Shout out to the Facebook group. Come join us in there if you need a place to land or want an epic community to surround yourself with. we will be here on the podcast, same time, same place next week. And what else can I tell you? Oh, this is going live at the end of February, and we are selling the last couple of spots for our mentorship right now. And we are likely going to have a spring mentorship, and potentially that is the last one for the year. So if you are on the fence, if you have any questions, if you are curious if the mentorship is the right space for you, please come join. We had some mentees, or you don't even have to join. Just send me a message. Happy to support you in finding the right spot to land. But I wanted to shout out some of our January mentees that just started in January 2024. I am recording this on February 2nd right now. And they've been in the game less than 30 days, and we have about 8 people who have already signed their first paid client. So if you are sitting here today listening to the tech overwhelm piece, I promise you one of those 8 women also has tech overwhelm, and she's here, right? She's serving, she's coaching, she's doing the thing. It's happening. And that can be you too. All right, team. See you later. Bye.